Spring Training 2017. Hi, everyone. Back once again from Fort Myers at the Minnesota Twins training camp, and Dick Bremer joins us once again this year. Dick, the TV voice for the Minnesota Twins at about 33 years?
34 coming up.
34 years, okay. So anyway, Dick is with us right now, and we'll get going, talk a little bit about Minnesota Twins baseball. Dick, I wanted to start out, talk a little bit about Sano and Buxton, two guys that for many years we've talked about. They're kind of the franchise. Your thoughts on both of them? We've watched a number of games. Sano, defense at third isn't all that good yet, but working on it. And Buxton is really looking solid defense, and offense seems better. What's your analysis?
Well, I think Twins fans would acknowledge that everybody believes that when this team is good again, Miguel Sano and Byron Buxton will be a big part of it. What's going to be interesting this year is to see what they learned from last year. In their own ways, they both struggled at times, although Byron came on strong in September and had a really good month of September. If he can carry that forward, then that'll be a great thing. Miguel, if anything, took a step back last year with all the strikeouts. The position change that he had to go through last year at this time probably didn't do him any favors. So let's see how things go here in the final days of spring training, and then when the season starts, and we'll have a much better idea about all of that come Memorial Day.
The first 15 days, maybe the first 30 days, I'm assuming these are going to be pretty critical when we hit regular season this year.
Yeah, especially after what happened last year. In retrospect, you really can't recover from 0-9, which is how the Twins started last year. And so, yeah, I think that, as I was telling somebody the other day, if the Twins win their opening game against Kansas City, they'll already be a week and a half ahead of last year's schedule. And we can laugh about it now, but it really did set the stage for an awful year last year. Every manager will tell you, every general manager will tell you they want to get off to a good start. That's not been common for the Twins. Even in those years when they won division championships, they did not get out of the gates quickly. I don't know why that is. I'm sure if anybody knew, they would try to correct it. We'll see what happens this year with the home opener, the first series of the year being at home. And if this team can get off to a good start, I think a lot of the concern about where this team is at will disappear rather quickly.
And if I saw it correct, I think we have a lot of interdivision play early, so that sets the tempo too.
Yeah, it does, and you really want to be ready to play in the first inning of your games and in the first games of the season. If ever there was a season where the season was lost in the first week and a half of the season, it was the Twins season in 2016. So let's see how this team plays coming out of the chute. There are other teams in the division that they'll be facing that have some issues, health-wise and otherwise. So we'll get a pretty good gauge again. Managers say by the 40-game mark. I tend to think out by Memorial Day we'll have a better idea about where this franchise is at.
Dick Bremer is our guest here from Fort Myers, Florida. Dick, of course, from the TV side of Minnesota Twins. I want to step away just for a moment from Twins players and just WBC, the World Baseball Classic. It's over now. USA wins it, first time. Is that going to make that event a bigger thing in the USA going forward? What do you think? It's always, I think, been bigger in your Puerto Ricos, the Dominican Republics, and Japan. But what are your thoughts?
Well, it was such a wonderful tournament. The games were so interesting to watch. We're not used to really interesting games in the month of March with just spring training games that don't count. But you touched on an important part of the WBC. It is more important in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and even in Japan and every other country except the United States. And unless or until Clayton Kershaw and Mike Trout and guys like that show up, I don't know that the fans will be as engaged as they were, say, in Puerto Rico. I just talked with Kenny Vargas, who was in the parade yesterday. Puerto Rico lost the championship game, but he said it was the highlight of his baseball career being in the parade because it just unified the whole country. We know what that's like when a high school team kind of unifies the whole town, or a college team does in the NCAA tournament. Well, that's kind of what happened on the baseball side in Puerto Rico. And unless the Mike Trouts and Clayton Kershaws, Madison Bumgarners, people like that are all in, I don't know that the fans will react that way in the United States.
So let's spin off that back to some Twins players. We had 4 players that were still out a couple days ago. Barrios and Vargas. Did the WBC, is that going to help their chances for making this team this year?
Well, I don't think you can, under any circumstances, say that it helped them. You might be able to make the argument that it hurt both of them. While Kenny Vargas was gone and getting just a handful of at-bats with the Puerto Rican team, the Young Home Park showed everybody why the Twins signed him in the offseason last year. And similarly, Jose Barrios, who had the inside track, one would think, for the 5th starter spot, has seen others like Alberto Mejia step in, given the opportunity, and really take good advantage of it. And I think therein lies the problem for a lot of the younger, less established players from some of the Latin American countries, for instance. They run the risk of being distracted from what really is important for them. As exciting as it was for them to play for their countries in the WBC, there are jobs to be had and lost in spring training. And if you miss a big part of time in spring training, you run the risk of starting the year at least in the minor leagues.
Dick Bremer is our guest. Stay tuned. More coming from Fort Myers, Florida on Spring Training 2017.